The law of surprise is known throughout all of the northern kingdoms, if not all of humanity, being a part of the race's shared culture since its dawn. It is by no means unique to witchers. However, this tradition is how many a young lad has found himself growing into the leather boots of a would-be magic knight. Should you be saved by another man, and the savior invokes the law, one of two versions may be applied. The first is a thing unknown in nature to both parties that comes to greet the previously saved party upon returning home. This can be a horse, dog, child, or if they are a farmer, perhaps good crops. The second is what the saved party finds at home but does not expect. This can also apply to anything including children. Once a male child of young age, before puberty, is recruited, they begin a very grueling process. After the first bit of training, the trial of grasses begins. Taken from the wiki, the first of the trials to happen was the infamous Trial of the Grasses, an incredibly painful one. It required the absorption of special virus cultures plus alchemical ingredients known as the grasses to modify the physiology of the subject. It took about a week. The grasses in question included corn lily, nightshade, speargrass, wild rye, and wolfsbane. Furthermore, mutagenic elixirs were essential as well. Supposedly, albumin of gray scolopendromorphs constituted the basis of witcher mutagens. Before the main portion of the trial began, one segment of the grasses was served to the children via teas. The herbs and elixirs were injected directly to immobilize children's veins. Most adepts died by the third day. The survivors, agitated by strikes of sudden madness, would fall into a deep stupor, their eyes turning glassy, hands reaching for any nearby clothing, and breath loud and hoarse. After being administered the elixirs again, the children's cough would progress into vomiting. They also suffered from seizures, while cold sweat ran down their skin. Thus weakened, the adepts fought with the mutagens, herbs, and viruses penetrating their bodies. When they woke up, by the seventh day, their eyes had already turned cat-like. No more than 3 or at best 4 in 10 survived. The rest died in agony. Aside from the eyes, the trial followed by the changes granted Witcher adepts lightning-quick reflexes, slower aging, physical strength, as well as sharpened senses. Next came the trial of dreams, once again from the wiki, consisting of a series of psychedelic visions induced into adepts by supervising druids or mages. The second rite, called the Trial of Dreams, further enhanced the Witcher's trainee abilities. The trial, among other benefits, augmented their night vision. On the other hand, it also sterilized them. Finally, the last major trial was the Trial of the Mountains. The Trial of the Mountains, much better known to wolf witchers as the Trial of the Medallion, served as an exam intended to verify what the adepts remembered from the previous stages of training. Would-be wolves needed to swim across a pond near Kaer Morhen, the home base of the wolf school, get through caverns inhabited by an old cyclops called Old Speartip without waking him up, then climb Troll's Head, deal with its mistrustful rock trolls, and get to a circle of elements. After activating their medallion at the circle, the trial was complete. All this was done in groups, as mentors believed that even though witchers were lone hunters, they could still benefit from cooperation. It can be assumed that this trial was done by every Witcher school. This is just a specific wolf take on it. Obviously, environments would vary by Witcher school. We know that the School of the Bear was found long up in the mountains, very cold environments. Then you have Kaer Morhen, which was more in a, say, temperate mountain environment. Then you have the Denmarv Caravan, which trains the School of the Cat Witchers. They, of course, are very nomadic, so they would most likely have a trial specific to the environment they currently inhabited, but this activation of the medallion is the key point to hone in on. While there are other trials specific to different schools, we'll be saving those specific to the cat, griffin, and wolf when we cover those schools individually. Before we go any further, one important note from a lore perspective here is the main character of most Witcher stories, Geralt of Rivia's extra mutations. He is often considered to be the super soldier of Witchers, and as a result, he's not exactly someone I would consider exemplary of your average monster hunting mutant. My hope is to establish a range as we continue for role players to see the minimum to maximum in different areas that beneficial or detrimental mutations may occur during the process of becoming a Witcher. Understand the following information is very vague, and I'll be doing my best from both a logical and intuitive perspective to establish a proper range of abilities. The negative side effects and weaknesses of these mutations include, but are not limited to, the following. 1. Sterility. A Witcher cannot have children. 2. Cat-like eyes. While helping with night vision, this obviously causes identifiable social problems in fitting in with larger civilized bodies of humanity. When one's economic gain is predicated on the slaying of monsters and being a trusted face, cat-like eyes probably aren't a help. 3. Overdeveloped libido. This insane sex drive is a great example of good pseudoscience when one pairs it with the sterility. It makes sense and adds more believability as a survival reaction to the sterility. However, in-universe, it has caused many rumors of a sexual nature to spread about Witchers. Being on the, what I jokingly called in the script, the medieval sex offender registry for being a mutant is obviously not beneficial for business. 4. Potion toxicity. While able to actually make use of their potions, which would kill a normal person, they are still ingesting poison, and taking too many within the same time period can easily cause an overdose of toxicity, leading to death. 5. Limited healing factor. While having the ability to recover from seemingly mortal wounds to normal men, this takes time and still some, though very minor, medical treatment. A decapitation or extreme wound can still be the end of a Witcher. Granted, this is only a weakness if you're pairing Geralt up against Wolverine or something, but that's how the wiki talks about it. Moving into the positive mutations, skills, and equipment of being a Witcher, they include the following. 1. Limited magical ability and the use of signs. Signs are minor magic spells, which aid Witchers in their craft immeasurably, despite being snubbed by true mages. These grant the following abilities. Ard, meaning telekinetic wave. Igni, meaning a stream of fire. Yurden, meaning a paralysis trap. Quen, meaning a force field capable of withstanding strong magic. Axii, meaning a charm, which can be thought of as a slightly less powerful version of the Jedi mind trick. Heliotrope, which is a less powerful version of Quen, and Somne, which is a targeted sleeping spell. 2. Night vision. As mentioned previously from the cat-like eyes, which the books specify as becoming normal when not needed to be in the cat-like mode, the games have them as constant slits. So, continues constant night vision. 3. Enhanced hearing. Able to hear heartbeats and eavesdrop very easily. 4. Enhanced speed and dexterity. While Geralt has a much more extreme version of this, most Witchers do gain it at what we will assume to be at half level. Again, when it comes to Geralt's speed, strength, and dexterity, I'll mention this later, but he probably would have been a professional level athlete naturally if it wasn't for the Witcher mutations, which made him superhuman. 5. Enhanced strength. Again, we will assume most gain this at half the rate of Geralt's ability, as Geralt is said to be easily the strongest of the Witchers of the Wolf School. It is also said, and again I will mention this further in the script, but he could punch out a bear single-handedly. That's some Chuck Norris level feats there. 6. Super longevity. While most Witchers don't make it past 80 in terms of their years of age, they are said in the example of Vesemir to be able to live for multiple centuries. 7. Limited healing factor, as spoken of before. 8. Parkour Expertise, which School of the Cat Witchers would of course be more skilled in, but all Witchers can be said to have an insane level of skill in this area. 9. Enhanced stamina, which goes without saying. 10. Extreme resistance to poison and disease. 11. Hardened bones due to mutations affecting the bone marrow. 12. Swordsmanship in what could be thought of as an altered Hema style, designed to specialize in often bigger opponents due to their training against large monsters. 13. Both the steel and silver swords, despite their name, seem to be primarily made with special techniques and meteorite metal infused with steel and silver respectively, making them incredibly strong. These swords will often have oils applied to them by the Witcher in question to have the following effects. Brown oil will stop blood from clotting, causing extra bleeding damage. Crinfrid oil will cause extreme shock or pain in comparison to the usual slash, stab, or cut pain level. Argentia, oil, will decrease the amount of damage steel will do, but increase the strength of their silver sword. Lastly, various monster-specific oils based on their specific weaknesses. 14. Master Alchemist. All witchers know how to brew their own potions. These include, but are not limited to, bindweed, which gives a 70% resistance to acid, black blood, used primarily against vampires, turning the witcher's blood to poison, blizzard, which increases reflexes even beyond the already steroid levels of witchers, cat, which increases night vision abilities, devrise, extract, which seemingly gives X-ray vision to them, as well as the ability to see invisible foes, full moon, which doubles stamina, various resistance potions, Maribor Forest, which increases endurance by half, Petrie's Filter, which acts as a magical steroid for Witcher signs, Shrike, which acts as a reflect or reverse damage spell, Thunderbolt, which increases physical strength by doubling it, but decreases mobility by half, White Honey to remove toxicity and the effects of all potions. Now just think about White Honey alone and how overpowered that is. You could literally go just to that brink of toxicity and overdose. And just, White Honey. It's like, Wives' Tears, which removes the effects of alcoholic intoxication, as well as many others which don't seem to translate well from games into life. 15. Detective Mode. One aspect of Witcher senses is the ability to put together clues from leftover scents or forensic evidence and other things that would normally be undetectable to humans, especially when considering the time period that the Witcher is usually set or the time period reminiscent era that it is set. I'm calling this detective mode because of how it is represented in Witcher 3, The Wild Hunt, as well as the, even though this is a fan-made bit of content, the Witcher's Adventure Skyrim mod, which also uses the same mechanism. It reminds me a lot of how Wolverine's smell ability is depicted in Wolverine and the X-Men. It's, again, just turned into a detective mode that also does heat vision, and like heat vision in terms of heat vision goggles, not in terms of Superman heat vision. 16. The last power in our list here is the Witcher Medallion, which will hum and ring in the presence of magical monsters, sorcery, or auras, basically acting as a wearable sixth sense or warning detection system for Witchers. As a final note on what I now consider to be these overpowered monster hunters, we should always take into account the Witcher's natural abilities if they did not go through the process. To me, Geralt's enhanced speed and strength, apparently so strong he was able to knock out a bear with his fist, shows us that he would have been a healthy athletic person to the level of a professional athlete if he never went through the mutations, regardless. So it's regardless of the mutations. Eskel, on the other hand, has clear magical potential and may even still be capable of learning real or advanced magic, unlike other Witchers, as it is said that he is much stronger with signs than the other school of the Wolf Witchers. So everything like that is there. I mean, obviously, a particularly agile person, a particularly flexible person is going to be better at parkour, and a particularly naturally magically gifted person like Eskel is going to be better at signs. Particularly strong and fast person is going to be good at athletic feats like Geralt. More so everything else. I always wonder what Lambert would be good at. He's just a stand-up Mike Knight. That's all. I'm basically doing this. I know this seems like more of a bare bones video. It's because I'm sort of building up to being able to create my own Witcher school, and this video was just kind of a necessity. Like, we have to go over the powers. We have to go over some of the weaknesses. Hope I made it a little bit fun for you. But it's all just very generic information that I hope you enjoyed. I hope you got something out of this. See you next time.